They hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, family? It's Hot Boxing Minute, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with that uncut realness, and let's talk about the conclusion of that legendary trilogy. Juan Fransisco Estrada, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez duked it out in the third fight. I did a video about it earlier this week in the build up to it. I actually got my prediction incorrect. They did their damn thing at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. I have to write it down because I always forget exactly what it's called. Very, very tough shootout between El Gallo, Juan Fransisco Estrada, the fighting pride of Sonora, Mexico, and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, the fighting pride of Nicaragua, the 4-division champion, former pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. They gave us yet another classic every single time those two meet up for a fight. It is always hotly debated, highly controversial, hotly contested by both ends, and everyone, boxing fans, they debate and go at it over the result of that fight. And this fight was definitely no exception. It lived up to the expectations. The first fight was in 2012. It went down with very little thoroughfare. It was aired on Wealth TV, some small carrier. I don't even have cable television, so I couldn't even tell you if Wealth TV is still on the air. The rivalry was birthed in 2012. I believe Chocolatito was making the 5th defense of his belt. Juan Fransisco Estrada ended up losing that decision to Chocolatito. They had a rematch in 2021. In Texas, it was a close affair. Again, they gave the decision to Estrada, and a lot of people thought that the decision should have gone to Chocolatito. Regardless, it was a tightly contested fight. Plenty of ebbs and flows going up and down. They threw for a record over 2,500 punches. I think it was 2,529 by some accounts. And then we had the fight this evening out there in Glendale, Arizona. Now, the way I saw the tempo of the fight play out, it looked like Chocolatito in the very beginning was all of 35 years old going on 50. It really looked like to me in the first part of that fight that Chocolatito had hit his peak. I thought we were watching him age right in front of us. All those crazy wars that Chocolatito had been in, it looked like we were finally seeing it catch up to him because he easily gave away the first 5 rounds, in my opinion, to Juan Fransisco Estrada. Estrada was sticking out that jab and was making it hard for Chocolatito to get inside. Every time Chocolatito would get inside or close enough to land combinations, Juan Fransisco Estrada was just blocking them. You know, it's the classic boxing rivalry between a pressure applying puncher like Chocolatito against a counter-punching master in Juan Fransisco Estrada. After the 5th round, they went into the corner. In Chocolatito's corner, they translated. He said something to the effect of, "You're blowing it," just like Angelo Dundee did to Sugar Ray Leonard when he was in the corner of that infamous Hearns fight. Or, not Hearns, when he fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler. "You're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it." He basically told him that this isn't how you train. This isn't what we trained and did all this hard work for. Chocolatito, coming into that 6th round, just slowly started to take over, in my opinion. And I thought I saw Chocolatito take all the rounds after that, leading up to round 12. So going into round 12, I had Juan Fransisco Estrada up by 5 rounds, and I had Chocolatito with 6 rounds. So I had Chocolatito in the advantage. In that 12th round, they both went at it and threw a lot of punches, and it was definitely ebb and flow, back and forth. It looked like one of those cartoon brawling tornado whirlwinds where they just kind of travel around the bar room, and it was an epic fight. And I edged out that 12th round to Juan Fransisco Estrada. When the cards were finally read, it was read, let me see if I can pull up the numbers right now, 3 cards. One of the judges had it 114 and 114 even. One had it 115, 113 in favor of Chocolatito, and one had it 115, 111, 115, 113 in favor of Estrada, and the other one was 116, 112 in favor of Juan Fransisco Estrada. So he got it by majority decision. Interesting development because I totally thought it was a draw. I'm not mad at the decision. Whenever it comes down to 2 legendary fighters, as skilled as these two are, when it goes to the cards, it's always going to be hotly debated. So, of course, everyone is up in arms on the Twitter spaces, in the YouTube spaces, in the TikTok spaces. Everyone is hotly debating it, arguing it. It's getting a lot of traffic online. Folks, soak in that kind of moment. the way fighters are fighting in today's modern boxing era, we're just not seeing them compete that often. What we got with Juan Fransisco Estrada and Chocolatito Gonzalez is something we likely won't see again for years. Our favorite fighters are only fighting once a year. You know how long it's going to take to build up another trilogy of the status and caliber of Juan Fransisco Estrada and Chocolatito? Your guess is as good as mine. So we did just recently get that trilogy conclusion with Triple G and Canelo Alvarez. Very anticlimactic. It was a bunk fight. Nobody liked it. Last year, we did and were granted the joy of witnessing the barbarianism that was Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder conclude their third fight. I think everyone walked away pretty happy with that one. Although oddly enough, nobody wanted to see the third fight. But then when we saw the third fight, we were glad we had it. I don't know when the next great rivalry is going to happen in boxing, but these things take anywhere from 2 to usually around 4 to 5 years. This one between Chocolatito and Juan Fransisco Estrada took 10 years to play out, folks. So I don't know if we will ever see a trilogy on that magnitude. Maybe the game of boxing resets itself. So maybe we do get, Marquez versus Vasquez type of trilogies. We do get Chiquita Gonzalez or Manitas de Piedra type of rivalries. Ali Frazier, Ali and goodness, why am I forgetting his name? They fought in San Diego. Anyways, these type of trilogies we don't get very often because they take a long time to play out. So soak up the moment. If you get on DAZN or you have a DAZN subscription, replay that fight and soak it up, folks, especially if you're a boxing purist, because this type of rivalry is something we're going to be talking about years from now. Anyways, boxing community, Juan Fransisco Estrada advances. He picked up the vacant WBC title that was vacated by Jesse Bam Rodriguez. So we have Juan Fransisco Estrada holds the WBC and the ring. The other champions in the division are Fernando Martinez with the IBF, Kazuto Ioka with the WBO, and Josh Franco with the WBA. I do believe that Juan Fransisco Estrada, apparently by what he said in the post-fight interviews, he said that he doesn't believe he'll get into the Hall of Fame unless he unifies the belts. I think regardless of whether or not he unifies the belts of super flyweight, Juan Fransisco Estrada, El Gallo, based on his resume alone, will comfortably get into the Hall of Fame. Chocolatito Gonzalez, no matter what he does at this point, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. He is Nicaragua's first 4-division boxing champion. For a couple years there, he was the consensus pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. Chocolatito brought his children to this fight. Now, the way I understand it with boxers, from what I've seen in the past, when they bring their children to events, that usually means they're on their last legs of their fighting life. And they usually tend to be very, very, very close to retiring, if not retiring. Chocolatito is 35 years old. He's got a lot of miles on the odometer. I personally hope he retires. I don't want to see him fighting guys like Kazuto Ioka or, Bam Rodriguez. Hopefully not. Definitely not against, Naoya Inoue or something, should he decide to move up and just go totally insane. He was kind of undersized for a super flyweight to begin with, but if I had to guess, I would say Roman Gonzalez is going to take that 7-figure paycheck he just made and ride off in the sunset. You got a couple years left for Juan Fransisco Estrada. He looked kind of questionable against Argy Cortez. He looked amazing tonight against Chocolatito. I listed off the other champions earlier. Boxing community, what did you think about Juan Fransisco Estrada's performance this evening against Chocolatito? What did you think about Chocolatito's performance? Do you agree with the judges' cards and the majority decision that they gave in favor of Juan Fransisco Estrada? Let me know in the comments section, y'all. Hit that like button, or you're not already pressing follow. Anyways, this is Hot Boxing Minute, the future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok, y'all. Peace.